If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the Non This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Non This Business Bites. I'm Ben, and this is Syya. And this week, I want to talk about breaking the busyness trap. We all, every single day, I talk to people and say, "How you doing?" And the first words out of people's mouth is, "I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I can't even, I'm just so busy. I can't even tell you how busy I am because I don't have enough time to tell you how busy I am." My first question is, busy doing what? What are we so busy with? Have we enabled our lives to become this trap of moving from one task to another, to another, to another, to another, without building the systems, processes, and time in there to breathe, to process, to think, to act and react? Because when we go from task to task to task, when we don't make the time to reflect, when we don't take the time to actually understand what we're trying to do and actually contemplate and be strategic about it, that's when the big mistakes happen. So, Syya, let's gnaw on this.
So, when you have a certain kind of brain chemistry, that busyness thing does feel productive at times, right? And I think there is a cultural aspect to this as well. I think Americans have this need to always look like they're doing something, otherwise they aren't producing or they're not contributing to something. And
Right.
I do think we have a society that literally it's kind of part of ingrained in your upbringing. As an Asian person, I could say, uh, you know, you know, I think that saying, idle hands is idle minds, idle hands, whatever the devil's work or whatever. But I think there's that mentality that if we aren't doing something, we're up to no good,
Hmm.
whatever it might be, whether it's self, satisfaction, or it could just be you're lazy or perception of it or whatever. So I recall many times in my career seeing a lot of my colleagues, and I'm guilty of it too, especially when I was in inside sales. Oh, yeah, you just reminded me, especially at inside sales. We would make it look like we were on calls all the time and we were
Sure.
dialing freaking weather. We were dialing like our buddy down the other route, like whatever it would be. Um, just to make it look like we were being productive. And they didn't care because they're like, "Oh, you made 100 calls today?" Yeah, made 100 calls today. You know, wow, you had
Seven of
22.
them happen to be to the guy down the aisle, but yeah, I made my 100
Yeah,
calls.
yeah, like, yeah, gosh. But the ultimate bottom line is, okay, that's great. You look busy, but what's the end results? Did it move your little marker forward towards your goal, right? And it sucks because, as a creative person, there are days I will just go into a massive like frenzy of creativity, and then I come out afterwards going, well, what the hell was that for?
Hmm.
But I went down that rabbit hole and I was busy. But did it result in anything? No. And I think that's a problem in communication, especially when you work with larger teams, is you do have people who genuinely believe that their busy work is contributing to something. And so let me ask you about this, Ben, is because, you work with a lot of teams and you consult on, increasing communication and all that. How do you address it when, this person is a hard worker, but how do you address it if can we focus them in this direction versus them doing a bunch of little things and not completing a task maybe versus focus just on this and finish this task? Like how would you approach that? That's like a $1 billion question, but how would you approach it?
No, no, and you're right. I mean, it starts with company culture. What are the things that are being measured? What are the KPIs? What are the OKRs? What are the things that people are measuring every single day? And what are you being compensated on? What are you being rewarded for? And, a lot of people, you're right, they're being rewarded for the fact that they made 100 calls. The fact that two of those calls ended up making money, well, they just say, well, if you put in enough calls, you're going to make
Yeah.
more sales. And the question is, my argument is if you're making better calls, you're going to make more sales. And I think that people need to be focused on the right results. Like, what are the things that we really should be measuring? What are the things that we really should be paying attention to, that we should be focused on? And I think that a lot of organizations focus on, well, Google does this, so we need to do this, or IBM does this, and we need to do this, or McKinsey told us that we need to focus
Oh,
on this, so therefore we need to do
yeah.
that because we paid them, $1.5 million. And I think we need to sit there as organizations and say, it doesn't really matter what everybody else measures. The question is, what are we measuring that's important to us? And people ask me, it says, well, what are the things that you measure on a daily basis? I go, did I make a bigger profit? Is there more money in my pocket this year than there was last year? After taxes, after all the bills have been paid, after everything is kind of said and done, you know, did I make more money than last year? That's what I measure. And I sit there and say, and then it comes down to customers, things like customer satisfaction. It comes down to, customer loyalty. How many clients did I gain this year? How many clients did I lose this year? Things like that. Those are the things that matter to me. Now, those don't matter to everybody, but those are the things that matter to me. And I drive my way that I conduct myself on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis based on that philosophy. I don't look and sit there and say, what did I make this week? Or how many phone calls did I make this week? How many jobs did I bring in this week? I'm looking at sit there and say, what's the net result on a year over year basis? And, looking more long term, it allows me to be more strategic. Now, I'm not looking for 10,000, new clients or 10,000 new sales on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. My attitude is if I have 6 clients on a yearly basis, I've done extremely well. So it's a different philosophy, it's a different focus based on what you're trying to do. And I can spend 2, 3, 4 hours of a day not talking to anybody and just researching, because that researching gives me the information that I need to be able to go talk to the client and say, okay, based on this, and this, I think we should be doing that.
It's a balancing act, don't you
It's
think?
very much a balancing act, and different companies are going to answer this question completely differently.
You just made me think of my worst nightmare, my nemesis in life, CRMs. Let me tell you, kids, I think I've gotten almost fired every single time, or possibly written up on my incredible CRM data entering skills.
Or
Look,
lack thereof.
or lack thereof. But here's the funny part, and I'll tell you why there's multiple reasons why that is. We probably should make that one episode alone about why can't we figure out CRM, and I have my reasons. But that being said, is if we were in an altruistic world, if we were consistent and we kept a clean CRM, so every meeting you went to, you just went do 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 do. It only takes 5 minutes to update, theoretically. It is a great tool for both the business side and for you to keep your conversations organized so you know what stage you're at. So it's a reminder of, oh, yeah, I forgot I talked to Bill about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why people like me can't freaking get the time to do it, that's a different issue altogether. But I will say, there were times when I was trying to be a good girl, partially because I think I got written up and I was like, well, I better clean this crap up real fast. And I went down that rabbit hole and I did put everything in there that I, could and all that stuff. And it took hours. It took days, quite frankly, for me to,
Mm-hmm.
because I was that good. It took days to update my CRM. But all that busy work, one would have assumed that it benefited to some end. And I'll tell you the truth, it did do jack shite for me. Because what you would think of like, oh, reevaluating, oh, I'm on this level here, this is what I need to do. It's only as good, that busy work that you've done is only good for up to that moment, for that moment in time, right? So if you could find a way to do your busy work a little bit smaller and more consistently, it might be a better payoff. But all that data dump that I did, it didn't pay back, if you want to call it that. But I thought I had accomplished something, because then now I walked back and I said, "Look what I did. You can't fire me now because I was a good girl." But what did it net the business in the end? Bull crap, right? I didn't close an additional deals based on it, but I made my management happy because
But
every
it
all the
probably
windows were
kept you it
sealed.
it might have kept you from closing a deal. So here's my thought
That's
process on
that's
this. Here's my thought process on this. Salespeople should be doing sales things. Salespeople should have admin staff where you can do voice notes saying blah 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 in the car, email it to your admin, and your admin puts it into the CRM.
it's called
That's
AI now. It's called AI.
whatever. It doesn't really matter whether it's AI driven or whether it's human driven. That's a good use of time, is the fact that to actually have to have the sales rep sitting there and entering data into a system keeps them from doing the work that they should be doing. Now, the good news is if the CRM is up to date and if all those things are up to date, you can sit there and say, "Oh, right, wait a second, I need to talk to this person in 3 weeks. It's in the CRM, and 3 weeks from now, I know that I need to give this person a call, and this is what we talked about 3 weeks ago." Great. That's important data.
Yeah.
Or being able to pull up information when the client asks you for X amount of information because they're trying to make a decision. Having that right information in the CRM is excellent. The trick is that that's what great admin staff should do, is they should free sales reps up to be able to deal with the clients, deal with the minutia, deal with the stuff that they need to deal with in order to be able to make the company more successful and more profitable. They will more than pay their way for admin staff by being freed up from having to come into the office just to enter stuff into the CRM. So I'm a big advocate that CRMs are important things and they're good. I just don't think that a good use of a salesperson's time is to sit there and have to enter all the information into the CRM themselves.
I'm sure it's evolved over time. You guys. I've been away from the sales world
Yeah,
close to 10 years. I get it. I
yeah.
get it. Get it. And I don't want to belabor that, but busy work is busy work is busy work. So this would also go to TPS reports, whatever industry you're in, you guys. And again, wow, I just made another reference that the Gen Zers probably have no clue, but you should. Office Space, best movie ever when it comes to like the office work. But filling out forms or whatever for the sake of it is absolutely not going to move the ball forward from an administrative perspective. Sure, there are reasons why. I think that's where, from a management level perspective, is to balance that kind of work. And like you say, is there a platform or going to hire someone for it to fill in those gaps so your productive team is doing what their job is, which is following through with your clients, don't get me wrong, but some of this other stuff where like the business needs to know, well, did Sia make 40 calls this month? On-site calls this month? Like, if you're going to micromanage, that's a different issue. But like, okay, if this person, you know, finished the project B, uh, you know, but we gave them project C, and so they had to figure out. But project C is not for like immediate timeline, but project B is. Like again, busy work of making them do project C when they had project B to do. And I'm really trying to go general to make it like not so much about
Of
sales
course.
and stuff like that, but that kind of busy work that may or may not have a net result, or busy work to offload your boss's work or your colleague's work because your colleague showed incompetence, and then now you have to make up for your freaking colleague's busy work because they're not doing their job. I mean, that's what we're also talking about. Busy work. Busy work doesn't necessarily mean mindless. It could also be work that shouldn't necessarily be needed to do, right? Like that's
Or
where
on
there's
your plate.
inefficiencies.
Yeah.
And maybe now you're making me think a bit more. So is busy work a manifestation of uh, weakness in processes?
Absolutely it is. And I would, that was going to be the next part that I got to is that it's systems and processes.
right?
Companies that have good systems and processes and build, technology solutions where technology solutions are called for to be able to do the work that people do. I mean, I've heard stories, especially in the insurance industry, where the report has to go into three different systems. And there's some poor fool that has to sit there and literally copy and paste information from one system to another system because no one's sit there and built an API that just automatically ports the information over. So therefore, 3 hours a day is being spent, or 7 hours a day is being spent by somebody just sitting there copying and pasting from one system to another.
Yep.
So if you sit there and say what's important, what can be automated, what can be thrown away, what are we doing just because we've always done it
Yeah.
versus what are we doing that is important, but it's not important that Sia does it or Ben does it. It's important that it gets done. How do we build a technological solution that be able to pull the information that Sia is already doing anyway and be able to pull that into reports so Sia doesn't have to cut a report every month just to make her boss happy. Her boss is just going to automatically get a report because the system will just generate it.
Right.
It'll just get generated in email to them regardless. And I think that we need to think about systems and processes of how we organize our day, our weeks, our years in order to be able to maximize the time of the people who work for us to be able to enable them to focus on the stuff that's important and move away from the minutia. So we need to get going on this and land this thing, but I'm giving the last word to you.
No, look, I've got nothing more to say other than busy work. Yes, I know that for many it feels like we're moving the ball forward, but it also could be an indicator of, again, lack of clarity and direction on your position, on what your task is at hand, right? And also, it could also be an indicator of poor operations efficiency, right? So when we're talking about busy work, it's not to imply that you're busy doing like, my stapler, my stapler. Like, no, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about sometimes maybe going down a path thinking you are being effective when you're not, right? And that
Exactly.
also is it can be a very big problem if you aren't aware of it, or you are aware of it, like me in inside sales, dialing and smiling my buddies down the road. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but to what end, right? And I feel like ultimately in the end, it is possibly you could hurt yourself. Um, in the end, whatever it might be. So that's it in a nutshell. As far as, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Because I do have more I want to say, but I think I'd be changing the subject. So
Perfect. So
take me
let's leave
away.
it there. I'm Ben,
I'm Sia.
and we'll see you soon.
Hey, hey, hey! Thanks for listening to another episode of Not On This Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at IamBenBaker.com or me at BrilliantBeanMedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. See you next week for another episode of Not On This Business Bites.